I know the Super Bowl was yesterday, but you didn't think I was gonna forget you guys, did you? After all, it's not like I do cover football news on a different channel or anything. So let's get to it, man. I have a lot to update you guys on James Harden, who kind of made his debut, but didn't make his debut. We got Ben Simmons and some Brooklyn Nets gear as well, and he seems to be doing way better, man, and that just makes me really happy to see. Before we get to the content, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications. We're also giving away $500 to a follower on our Instagram page. And now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Look, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't always get my takes 100% right. As a matter of fact, I think I'm wrong a decent amount of times, but I do think I provide decent rationale and explanations for what I feel like I feel, and I do hold myself accountable when I was wrong. One of the things I was 100% wrong about, man, was Ben Simmons. I mean, I was absolutely destroying this individual for holding out the entirety of the season, missing out on almost $20 million, not wanting to be the cornerstone of a team that was probably going to become the first seed in the East, considering the fact that they're performing so well without him. And I just thought he was a spoiled brat. But then I saw this picture, and once he got traded to the Brooklyn Nets, man, this looks like a man that is just in such a better place mentally. And as a person that just likes seeing other people thrive, I am so happy for this individual. I can't wait to see the man debut for the Brooklyn Nets. I can't wait to see what the Brooklyn Nets do now that they have Ben Simmons alongside Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Is it going to be even more of a circus, do you think? Or do you think they're going to come together and win a championship? Because they are currently on an absolutely bizarre losing streak, and hopefully they're able to turn that around. Now, on the flip side, we didn't really have time to let the trade fester within us, but if you look at the Philadelphia 76ers, I don't think you could get more all in than the Sixers are right now. You see, the issue with trading for a player like James Harden is, on one hand, he's James Harden. He's put up some of the most prolific seasons in NBA history, and the man that put the best pieces around him to potentially succeed was Daryl Morey. Now, here's the crazy part. Very soon after Daryl Morey traded for James Harden, there was this rumor that the Philadelphia 76ers were going to fire Doc Rivers immediately and then hire Mike D'Antoni, which is absolutely insane because this is coming from Mark Stein. Take a look at this. Mark Stein says Rivers may have a more significant problem to manage than merely tuning out the naysayers, questioning his presence on the top 15 list. The conspiracy theory already making the rounds in league circles holds that the Sixers president of basketball operations, Daryl Morey, will eventually want to make Mike D'Antoni take over in the hot seat for Philadelphia's new Joel Embiid James Harden tag team after D'Antoni's offense creatively helped catapult Harden to 3 scoring titles in Houston. Here's the thing, man. This was already rebuffed, and I was kind of disappointed because Mark Stein is, in my eyes, a very credible source. He usually hits the nail on the head most of the time, and maybe he got a report from a source and the Sixers are trying to rebuff it. But in my opinion, this might be one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. The only way I could ever see this happening is if the Philadelphia 76ers are a first-round exit, which Doc Rivers is their head coach. For all you know, they could blow a 3-1 series lead in the playoffs again and end up being an early exit. But I don't think Mike D'Antoni would be the right head coach for this team to begin with. I mean, maybe I'm just a little traumatized from being a Los Angeles Laker fan and seeing what Mike D'Antoni historically has done to big men. He is not good for Joel Embiid. This team should not be built around James Harden. It should be built around the most prolific center that we've seen in recent memory. You could call me a bit of an old head, but I was raised in a NBA era that saw dominance from players like Tim Duncan, Shaquille O'Neal, Pau Gasol. Could I slip Andrew Bynum in there? But I thought this was an absolutely bizarre report. Now, this was just a rumor that eventually was denied instantly by team insiders, but I don't think a team insider would come out and say,
oh yeah, that's definitely a true report.
So it's something we're going to keep an eye on. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. The team is currently performing really well. They were performing well without Ben Simmons. I'm expecting them to perform even better with James Harden. But the problem is, now that they gave up draft picks for James Harden, they're expected to also pay James Harden, well, James James Harden like money. James Harden could probably sign a max this offseason and probably will. But meanwhile, he still hasn't become healthy enough to debut for the Philadelphia 76ers. So here's the report coming from none other than Kyle Neubeck, who also make sure you follow Kyle Neubeck, man, because he gave us all of this information and all the footage that you're about to see on Twitter. But according to this article, James Harden's Sixers debut will have to wait until after the All-Star break, with the 76ers announcing on Monday that he would continue to rehabilitate his left hamstring in advance of his return to the floor. In the meantime, the Sixers say that he will continue treatment and on-court training to get back up to speed as part of the rehab process. Harden will miss Sunday's All-Star game in Cleveland, and the earliest Harden might be seen in a Sixers uniform is Friday, February 25th on the road to Minnesota, where the Sixers will take on the Timberwolves in their first game following the break. For anyone who was hoping to see Harden prior to this team's mid-season break, it's a bit of a buzzkill, but this was not a huge shock based on what people had said behind the scenes after the trade was completed. And this is being sold by the Sixers as simply doing the right thing for Harden long term, as they stare down a potential championship run for the months to come. I think it's more to make sure he's right, healthy, and ready to go. We want to make sure he's ready, so we're going to wait until he's ready. The interesting part about this is the 76ers held their first practice with James Harden, and the man looked pretty good to go, if I do say so myself. I mean, even take a look at this man. He's playing against Tyrese Maxey. It seems like James Harden is already taking the spot of Ben Simmons. If you remember earlier this year, you would see Ben Simmons and Tyrese Maxey usually shooting around. Now you have James Harden and Tyrese Maxey shooting around. So automatically I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, wow, this is possibly going to be remarkable for Tyrese Maxey's development. I actually think that the Philadelphia 76ers may have found a future All-Star in Tyrese Maxey. Having him watch the way James Harden prepares, watch the way James Harden practices is going to be remarkable for this man's development. Now, obviously these are just shooting drills, so it's not really an indicator of how ready James Harden is to play in an NBA game, but Doc Rivers told reporters on Monday that Harden participated in everything the rest of the team did as they begin the process of incorporating a big piece and a true co-star for Joel Embiid into the group. Some of it, at least according to the coach, is going to be relatively easy, thanks to the gifts of the player that they just acquired. A basketball savant, to use the words of new teammate Georges Niang. You want to make sure that your offense fits him too. He was laughing today. It's amazing what you guys do is similar to what I've done. That stuff is easy. You got to get your end of the game package, stuff like that. Some of that will be different. Now, the next part might be Doc Rivers throwing shade at the Brooklyn Nets, or
maybe he's just accidentally saying it because he's not media trained, like he was saying about Ben Simmons after he threw Ben Simmons under the bus
following his meltdown in the Eastern Conference semifinals.
Doc, you think Ben Simmons can still be a point guard for a championship team like the one you guys want to become?
Yeah, David, I don't know that question or the answer to that right now, so I don't know the answer to that.
Doc Rivers said fitting James Harden into an offense is not that hard. It really isn't. He's just a terrific basketball player. You don't need to overcomplicate it. You know where he's been great at, you know which direction he wants to go, and so you put him on those sides of the floor. A couple of things that we run today, our guys automatically flipped it without me saying a word. Tyrese ran it on the other side of the floor and they just did it. So it seems like James Harden is getting acclimated to his brand new team. I'm gonna leave the link to the article in the description down below. You guys should definitely check it out. Let me know in the comment section down below, who do you think is going to finish at the top of the East at this point? Do you think the Brooklyn Nets are most likely to represent the East in the NBA Finals, or would it be the Philadelphia 76ers or another team? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.